Two people become trapped in a strange place with stolen money. They are trapped there, a never-ending mystery. The film begins in a bar where a man named Joseph is waiting for his sister, Sydney. They robbed $1 million. The police are after them, so they have to hide for a while. Sydney did this because she was in debt. She wanted to give her daughter a good life with the money. Joseph has a plan. He says, "I met a woman once. She owns a house in a nearby village. It's been vacant for a long time. We can hide there. When everything calms down, we can return to our old lives and live a better life with the stolen money. It's just a matter of a few days." While they're discussing this, they hear the sound of police sirens. So they escape and go into the nearby forest, where they change their clothes and throw their old belongings into a pond. Both of them had guns and set out for the house. Sydney had great faith in her brother. Soon, they reached the fields. Passing through the fields, they heard gunfire. As they approached the house, they saw three boys having fun, aiming. Sydney came out with a gun and told them to leave. The boys weren't afraid of Sydney. But as Joseph came from the other side and fired a shot, they ran away. Joseph told Sydney they should hurry inside. With that, the two entered the house. The house was quite old. It seemed as if no one had lived there for a long time. Things were scattered around, and the floor was covered in filth. Now, let me tell you something. The person who gave Joseph this house had also told him its secret. The secret was that this house allowed time travel. This meant that a person could travel to any time, such as the past or the future. Not only that, but they could also be sent to another world. Joseph thought that if she spent some time there, the theft might be wiped away. Joseph had been given instructions, essential instructions. There were two old clocks in the house whose time had to be set according to the instructions. Just then, the sound of police sirens came. Sydney urged her to run, but Joseph said they had to go to the basement. The door would only open with the clock's combination. That is, they had to turn the hands of the clocks in a specific way to open the door. The two quickly set the clock's combination, and once the basement door opened, they hurried downstairs. They realized the police had entered and were searching the house. Joseph opened an old diary and told Sydney to dial a specific number on the telephone. Sydney answered the phone, and after dialing the number, she uttered three strange words, which were actually code words. Suddenly, darkness fell and everything went silent. When they emerged from the basement, they saw that the house had completely changed. All the belongings were in their original place. The house looked new, as if someone had actually lived there. They had actually time traveled back to a time when the house was new. Jazzer followed diary's instructions and turned back the clock in one room. Sydney was shocked. She couldn't believe this was really happening. But the truth was, they were both fools. Whoever sent them to this house wasn't there. This meant something else was going on, something very dangerous. Josie explained to her that this place was now completely safe for them, but on one condition: they had to stay here for 14 days. Then they would return to their own timeline, where everything would be quiet. They were both happy to think that at least no one would come looking for them. The kitchen was also full of food. Records and movies were laid out on the table to pass their time. The first day, they both just rest. Then, the next day, Joseph goes for a walk nearby, not too far from the house, because this house has a limit they can't cross. Joseph had been told this. Sydney finds some clothes in the house. The furnishings are a bit strange. There's both old stuff and modern new stuff. But for now, these two don't mind, because they just want to be quiet. In the evening, they cook dinner. Later, they do the financial calculations. They have to write everything down. Sydney looks at a picture of her son and consoles herself that everything is going to be fine. Days pass. 13 days pass like this. One night, they both look at an antique in the house. That is, she was talking about something precious and old. Then they start talking about their past lives. It turns out that their past wasn't so good. From their conversation, it seemed as if Joseph never gave his sister support or time. But today, both siblings are happy to be together. Then they start remembering their mom and dad. Sydney remembers the tune of a song she heard as a child, which was her mother's favorite. Just like that, 2 weeks pass. They were happy to be leaving. Sydney was anxious to return to her daughter. They start cleaning the house, and Joseph burns all the trash. Now, just as they had previously followed instructions in the basement and entered a different timeline, they need to follow some instructions to return to their own timeline. So they head towards the basement. But to their shock, they find that someone has locked the basement door. It turns out that there is a church and a mill nearby. A message was written on the door: if you want to go back, go to the old mill. Seeing this, Sydney panics and, without thinking, runs towards the mill. Jacer follows her and tries to calm her down. When they enter the mill, they are astonished. It's like a church was set up, as if it had once been used for religious ceremonies. A corpse was also lying there, in a very bad condition. A wooden stand was placed next to the body, and on the stand was written, "You are trapped in a time loop. If you are willing to stay here, sign below." Seeing this, Sydney becomes terrified. She refuses to sign the document and, without thinking, runs away from the mill. Now, as I mentioned, this house has a limit beyond which these people cannot go. So, as Sydney tries to cross it, she starts vomiting blood and falls unconscious. When she regained consciousness, Joseph had already brought her inside. They both understood that she couldn't leave this place. Upon regaining consciousness, Sydney became furious and screamed, having escaped from one predicament and fallen into another. Learning the truth further enraged and shocked her, Joseph told her that the body they had seen at the mill actually belonged to the woman who had sent them there, whose house it was. They both understood there was no escape. Joseph signed the document, and as he wrote his name, a safe suddenly appeared. Joseph then entered the safe's code using his old diary. Inside the safe was a tape recorder and a small note. The note read, "Say something and then close the safe. Your words will create a connection, a kind of link." Joseph opened the safe, said, "Hello," and then closed it. A minute later, when he turned on the tape recorder, they heard an unknown man's voice. The voice tells Joseph that he shouldn't be here, but rather, go back home. Whoever it was, knew everything about them, everything about the theft and the escape. Sydney tries to talk to him. She senses the man wants a share of the money. Sydney was willing. She just wanted to get out of here, no matter what. But whoever it was, wasn't interested in money. Joseph thinks the voice belongs to someone from the future, or from another universe, but they're now completely trapped. Sydney opens the safe again. This time, as they talk, the voice says, "If you want to get out alive, you'll have to kill one person," which shocks them both. Sydney asks, "Which person?" The voice says, "You'll have to kill a stranger who comes here. You'll have to destroy any evidence of him. Only then will you be able to return to your world. We were able to track you, but not him. We don't know what era he's in, what timeline he's entered. If we kill him, you'll be able to return to your own timeline. But if we don't, your existence in that timeline will be erased. When will this unknown person appear? Will he attack? We can't say anything. But one day, he'll definitely come to kill you. We can say this." Knowing all this, the two return home and plan how to deal with this situation. They hide some weapons nearby because they don't know when, where, or how these unknown people will attack. They were also prepared to take turns guarding. Many months pass, but no one comes. They couldn't even leave this place. Yes, but the good thing was that the food was fresh every time because it all ran in a loop, so if the fridge emptied, they would close it and open it again, and it would be full of food. The people they spoke to now controlled this place, and some major experiment was underway. One day, Sydney tried to learn about the house's history. Looking at old documents and photographs, she explained that all this stuff had been collected. It didn't belong to the owner. Everything was from a different era. The house hadn't had an owner since 1955. Joseph was also angry that they were being used as subjects in an experiment. They hadn't heard from the man again for quite some time. Joseph went to the mill every day, trying to hear his voice through a tape recorder, but he got no response. A few months later, while Sidney was on guard outside, the unknown man arrived. He was watching Sidney through binoculars. Before he could shoot Sidney, Joseph yelled, alerting Sidney. She quickly ran inside the house. He shot repeatedly, but missed. A fight ensued, and the stranger wounded Joseph and took him to the mill. But he wouldn't talk. He also wanted Joseph to speak for him, telling those in control that Joseph had killed the stranger. When they asked for proof, Joseph lied, saying it was too cold. I couldn't find his body, she said. But they realized he was lying. Sidney was at home at the time. A safe arrived there as well. She told Sidney, we don't know who he is. But he's neither you nor Joseph, which means he's not some future version of you. He's not even your mom or dad. But whoever it is, you have to kill him. When the stranger entered the house, Sidney fought him. And when she removed her mask, Sidney was shocked, knowing it was none other than his daughter. Joseph arrived, and by then, Sidney's daughter had hidden her face. He, too, wanted to kill her. However, while Sidney tried to stop Joseph, he fired to save her daughter's life. Sidney stepped forward, being shot and nearly killed. She couldn't even tell Joseph that she was his daughter. She then took the opportunity to escape, only to be killed. Joseph was deeply saddened by his sister's death. He later buried her body. He then contacted them, requesting them to send him back to his own time so he could correct his mistake. Please give him one last chance. So they agreed, sending Joseph to the day she was supposed to come to the house with the stolen money. And now, Joseph goes back in time, kills his original self, and then returns with his sister, but this time, he accidentally kills his sister, and this happens not just once, but multiple times, and continues to recur. Years pass, and Sidney once again appears in the loop. We see that Joseph has grown older. He tells Sidney, I tried so hard to save you, but every time I accidentally kill you. This will continue because of greed. There's only one solution, and that's for you to kill me. Leave the money and go back to your daughter. Never go to that house again, because this is the past where you're alive. If you don't go to that house now, everything can be stopped, which will stop the lure. He forces her so much that Sidney shoots him and kills him. But Siren escaping, meaning the cycle will repeat itself. This will keep happening again and again. This means she'll return to this house, and the endless loop will reactivate. We now learn that these people created this place because they knew so much and were in control. These experiments had been taking place here since 1955, which is why various items were found there. Furthermore, there were numerous time travel houses where different people were present, and this is where the story of the film ends.